What are you waiting for?
You too, Brutus.
What you just watched was created with AI, using Flick, an AI filmmaking platform built for creators who want more control over their scenes, characters, camera movement, and final video. In this tutorial, I'll walk you through the full process of making this short cinematic scene from scratch. We'll look at how to build a project inside Flick, create characters, generate locations, turn images into video, control the mood and camera movement, and finally assemble everything into one finished sequence. The main reason I wanted to test Flick is simple. Making AI videos usually means jumping between different tools, one for images, another for video, another for editing, and another for organizing everything. Flick tries to bring that workflow into one canvas, which can be especially useful if you're a YouTuber, documentary creator, storyteller, influencer, or anyone trying to make cinematic AI videos more efficiently. This is not just about generating one random clip. The goal is to build a complete scene with consistency, the same characters, the same locations, the same visual style, and a clear story. So in this video, I'll show you what worked, what took some adjusting, and how you can use Flick to create something similar or even better for your own projects.
Before creating the actual scenes, I want to prepare the workspace. Flick is built around a visual canvas, so we can organize the whole filmmaking process in one place. Characters, locations, references, images, videos, and later the final sequence. Inside the canvas, one of the first things I need to choose is the style. Flick has a large style library with hundreds of curated looks, organized into different categories. For this project, I'm choosing a 3D cartoon style with a historical direction. I don't want it to look too realistic, but I also don't want it to feel childish. The goal is a polished animated historical scene, dramatic, clear, and consistent. So at this stage, we're simply setting up the project, choosing the format, exploring the canvas, and selecting the visual style before we start creating Julius Caesar and the main scenes. Let's quickly look at the main tools we'll use inside the canvas. On the left side, Flick gives us a simple menu where we can add different types of assets to the project. We can upload our own material, create a text note, generate images, generate videos, create voice audio, and also generate music. I'm starting with a text note because it's useful for organizing the core idea before generating anything. For example, I can write the description of a character, a scene, or a visual direction, and then connect that text to an image or video node later. When we create an image node, Flick lets us choose between different image models. In this menu, you can see options like Nano Banana 2, Midjourney, Recraft V3, Z-Image Turbo, C-Dream 5.0 Lite, Grok Imagine, Nano Banana Pro, and others. This is useful because different models can give different results depending on the type of scene you're trying to create. For this project, I'll use image generation to build the important visual pieces first, the characters, the locations, and the key frames for the story. Then we also have video generation. Here, Flick gives us an image-to-video workflow, where we can connect an image and animate it. We can choose the video model, the resolution, and the duration. You can see models like C-Dance, Kling, Wan, Veo, Grok Imagine, and others. This is where the still images become cinematic shots. Another useful part is audio. Flick includes text-to-voice, where we can select a voice, write dialogue, and even add multiple speakers. There are voice categories like conversational, narrative, educational, characters, social media, and advertisement. So the voice can be matched to the type of project. And finally, there is Generate Music, which can be used to create background music directly inside the same workspace. So the basic idea is simple. Inside one canvas, we can bring in our own material, write notes, generate images, turn them into videos, and also create voice or music. Before we start building the Caesar scene, I want to quickly show you how the workspace works, because this is one of the main advantages of Flick. When the canvas gets bigger, the first thing that becomes important is navigation. That's why I switched to hand mode. It makes it easier to move around the project without accidentally selecting or changing something. Then I can start organizing the canvas. With Add Section, I can separate the project into different parts. For example, one area for character creation, one for locations, and one for video shots. This may look simple, but once you have many images, references, and clips, it keeps the whole workflow much cleaner. I can also add text directly to the canvas. I use text notes for planning, writing character descriptions, scene ideas, reminders, or the exact prompt direction before generating anything. So instead of keeping notes somewhere else, the planning can stay inside the project. There's also a video editor panel. This is where the project starts moving from separate generations into an actual sequence. Later, after we create the shots, we can use this area to arrange the clips and build the final short film. Another useful part is shots. This is basically where Flick helps you keep track of the assets inside the project. Images, videos, and audio from the canvas can be collected here, so you don't have to search manually through a large canvas every time you need something. Flick also has Get Inspirations, which opens the classic film scenes library. This is useful if you want to study real cinematic references before generating your own shots. You can search by mood, style, color, director, or just a general idea. The chat panel is another important part of the workspace. From here, I can write prompts, upload files, and also reference existing images or videos from the project. So the chat is not just a separate assistant, it can become part of the Canvas workflow. And the useful detail is this. When I select an item on the canvas, the chat understands that I'm working with that specific item. So if I click on an image, I can write instructions for that image. If I click on a video, I can give instructions for that video. This makes the workflow feel more direct because the prompt is connected to the exact asset I'm working on.
Finally, there is the share function. This lets me invite people to the project, choose whether they can view or edit, copy a share link, or publish the project to the community. So before we generate the actual Caesar scenes, the main idea is clear. Flicky gives us one canvas where we can organize the project, collect references, write prompts, generate assets, edit the sequence, and collaborate without constantly jumping between different tools.
Now let's move on to the actual production process. Before I start generating anything, I usually work with ChatGPT to organize my ideas and prepare the script. Once the script is ready, I use it as the foundation for writing my prompts and building each scene step by step. I should also mention something important at the beginning. During this process, I created some extra images and videos that I didn't end up using in the final film. That's simply part of the workflow when you're experimenting and refining a project like this. Still, it's worth being careful because every generation affects your credits. The first thing I created was Julius Caesar himself. I generated 3 images of Caesar from different angles, and when creating the additional ones, I used the first image as the character reference. That helped me maintain character consistency, so Caesar would keep the same appearance throughout the film. I also created 2 images of Brutus along with a separate group of senators. After that, I moved on to building the environment, because visual consistency in the setting is just as important. If the environment keeps changing from shot to shot, it becomes very noticeable in the final video. I started by generating the first exterior image of the Senate. Then I used the change angle function to rotate the scene and create the same environment from different perspectives. I did this twice, so in total I created 3 exterior images of the Senate from 3 different angles. Next, I used Edit and Merge to place Caesar onto the Senate stairs, showing him walking upward into the scene. As always, this part depends heavily on giving the model the right prompt. Then I used Change Angle again to create an overhead version of one of the Senate images. And after that, I used Edit and Merge once more to create the shot of Caesar entering the Senate interior. After preparing the characters and the main environments, I started turning the images into videos. The first video I generated was the exterior establishing shot of the Curia of Pompeii. This is the shot that opens the short film. The camera starts near the lower part of the stairs and slowly moves upward toward the entrance, creating a more cinematic introduction to the scene. I used Cdance 2.0 because in my testing, it gave me one of the strongest results for this kind of cinematic movement. The camera motion was smooth, the architecture stayed consistent, and the result was good enough to place directly into the editor. After that, I created another video where Caesar is already on the stairs, walking toward the Senate Hall. For every video, I don't only write the visual prompt, I also add an audio direction. In this case, I describe the sound of footsteps on stone stairs, subtle robe movement, and the atmosphere around the building. This helps the clip feel more like a complete scene, not just a silent animation. Once that clip was ready, I added it to the editor as well. Then I created the moment where Caesar reaches the entrance and walks inside. This video also came out quite well, so at this point I already had the first 3 shots of the film: the exterior introduction, Caesar walking up the stairs, and Caesar entering the building. After that, I needed the interior of the Senate Hall. I generated the hall first because the location had to stay consistent. Then I used edit and merge to place Caesar inside that environment, walking into the room. I also filled the hall with different Roman senators to make the scene feel more believable. Later, I added Brutus into the same scene as a separate important character. From that image, I generated a video where Caesar enters the hall, notices Brutus, and continues walking. This became an important emotional setup for the betrayal later in the film. I also created another image and video connected to this same moment, but in the final edit, I decided not to use it. It looked good, but it made the scene feel too long. And that's a normal part of the process. Not every generation will end up in the final video. You still need to test, compare, and sometimes remove shots if they slow down the story. Next, I generated another image where Caesar is deeper inside the hall. From that image, I used change angle to create a new perspective.
Then I generated a video where Caesar looks confused and suspicious while the senators slowly gather around him. After that, I used the last frame from the video and changed the camera angle again. Sometimes when changing the angle, the image can lose a bit of quality, so I used edit and merge to clean it up and improve the result before generating the next video. Then I repeated the same process again. I took the last frame from the video, changed the angle, improved the image quality, and adjusted the scene. This time I placed Brutus in front of Caesar so the emotional focus would be clearer. I generated a video from that version, but I didn't like the result, so I created another one until the scene worked better. Finally, I assembled the selected shots inside the editor. This is where the separate clips started to become one complete short film. From the opening exterior shot, to Caesar entering the hall, to the senators gathering around him, to the final tragic moment. And this is the main reason I think Flick is useful for this type of project. Instead of jumping between many different tools for images, videos, references, audio, and editing, I was able to build the full workflow inside one platform. It still takes planning, testing, and some corrections, but the process becomes much more organized. For creators, YouTubers, documentary makers, storytellers, or anyone who wants to create cinematic AI scenes, this can save a lot of time. You can build characters, create locations, generate videos, control style, experiment with camera angles, add audio direction, and assemble the final result in one place. So this was the full workflow behind the Julius Caesar short film I showed at the beginning. If you want to try Flick yourself, you can use my link in the description. You'll get 200 free credits just for signing up and 2,000 credits if you upgrade to standard or higher. I'll also leave the link below so you can test it for your own projects. Thanks for watching. If this video was helpful, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what kind of AI filmmaking tutorial you want to see next.